The nurse's hand was trembling as she reached for my IV tube. Then, in one swift motion, she pressed a sticky note into my palm. I looked down at it, confused, still groggy from my concussion. 3 words scribbled in urgent, shaky handwriting. Say you're allergic. Before I could ask what she meant, she leaned close. So close I could feel her breath on my ear. She whispered, "Don't let them start your IV. Make up anything. Just don't let them put that needle in your arm." I stared at her. She was young, maybe 30, with dark hair pulled back tight. Her name tag read Anna Rodriguez. I'd never seen her before. "What IV?" I managed to ask. "I'm not supposed to." "Please." She grabbed my wrist. Her fingers felt ice cold. "I know this sounds insane, but I'm begging you to trust me. That IV will kill you." Her eyes weren't just worried. They were terrified. The kind of raw fear you can't fake. She released my wrist and straightened up, her professional mask sliding back into place. "I'll be back to check on you later, Mrs. Cole," she said in a normal voice, for the benefit of anyone listening. Then she was gone, pushing her cart quickly out of the room. I sat there in my hospital bed, holding that crumpled sticky note, my heart pounding against my ribs. At that moment, I didn't know if this was a patient mix-up, a medication error, or something far more dangerous. But what happened in the next 3 hours proved one thing. Her warning wasn't just real. It would save my life. My name is Martha Cole. I'm 42 years old, and 3 days ago I woke up at the bottom of my staircase with a concussion and a fractured wrist. My husband David, a cardiovascular surgeon at Mercy General, found me unconscious, called 911, and stayed with me through 5 hours in the emergency room. I remember thinking how lucky I was. Lucky to have someone who knew exactly what questions to ask, what tests to order, who to call to get the best care. David's family had never fully accepted me. His mother still introduced me as the girl who couldn't give us grandchildren. 15 years of marriage, 7 rounds of IVF, and thousands of dollars spent on fertility treatments that never worked. The disappointment in their eyes at every holiday dinner. The pointed questions about adoption that I deflected while David stayed silent. 3 days before my fall, I'd bought a pregnancy test. After 15 years of trying, of failing, of giving up, 2 pink lines had appeared. I was finally pregnant. I'd been waiting for the right moment to tell David, wanting to wait until I could confirm it with a doctor, until I could give him good news that wouldn't end in heartbreak like it always had before. I never got the chance. If you're connecting with my story, please press that like button to bring some light into my heart. It helps me know I'm not alone in this. I sat there holding the sticky note, my pulse racing. Why would a nurse I'd never met warn me about an IV I didn't even know I was scheduled for? And why did she look so terrified? Before I could process it, I heard footsteps, high heels, confident and purposeful, coming toward my room. Dr. Sarah Martinez appeared in the doorway, and my first thought was how put together she looked for 7 a.m. Sleek, dark hair, perfect makeup, white coat, crisp and spotless. She was younger than me, maybe 35, with the kind of beauty that came from both good genes and expensive skincare. "Good morning, Martha," she said warmly. "How are you feeling today?" "A little confused, actually." I tried to keep my voice steady. "I thought I was just supposed to be on oral pain medication. We're adding IV fluids and anti-inflammatories to speed your recovery." She moved to the 4th stand with practiced efficiency. "Dr. Cole specifically requested it. He wants to make sure you're getting the best treatment." My chest tightened. David had ordered this? "What kind of anti-inflammatory?" I asked. "Ketorolac, very standard." She smiled reassuringly. "You'll feel so much better once we get this started." She approached with the IV needle. "Just make a fist for me." I thought about Anna's terrified face, her shaking hands, the desperate way she'd grabbed my wrist. "Wait," I blurted out. "I think I might be allergic." Dr. Martinez paused, her smile flickering. "Allergic to what?" "Shellfish, and doesn't that mean iodine? So I shouldn't—" "The solution doesn't contain iodine, Martha." Her tone was patient but cooling. "And shellfish allergies don't necessarily mean iodine sensitivity. That's a common misconception. Still, I'd rather wait. Maybe try the oral medication first?" I tried to keep the fear out of my voice. "This is much more effective." "I said I'd rather wait." My voice came out firmer than I intended. We stared at each other. Something shifted in her expression. Frustration? Anger? Before the professional smile returned. Of course, it's your choice. She set the needle down carefully. Though Dr. Cole was quite insistent about this treatment plan, he consulted with me this morning before his surgery. He's very concerned about your recovery. After she left, I sat there trying to catch my breath. David had ordered this. My husband, who'd been so worried about me, who'd held my hand in the ER, who'd made sure I got my own room on the quietest floor. Why would a stranger warn me about something my own husband had requested? I looked down at the sticky note. Say you're allergic. The handwriting was shaky, like she had scribbled it in a panic. Then I thought about something that had been bothering me since I woke up in the hospital. I didn't remember falling down the stairs. I remembered standing at the top, looking at my phone, reading something, and then nothing. Just waking up in the ER with David's face above me, telling me I'd be okay. What had I been reading? I reached for my phone on the bedside table. It wasn't there. Neither was my purse. Your husband took your things home, a nurse had told me yesterday, for safekeeping. My phone was gone. My purse was gone. The pregnancy test I'd bought 3 days ago, the one that had shown 2 pink lines, gone. Now I had no way to call anyone, check my messages, or verify anything. I was completely isolated. The door opened and I jumped, but it was just Anna, pushing a fresh linen cart. She glanced at the unused IV stand and her shoulders sagged with relief. You didn't let them, she whispered, pretending to straighten my blankets. No, but I need you to tell me what's going on. Why did you warn me? Anna looked at the door, then back at me. Her jaw was tight. I can't talk here. Too many cameras. But Mrs. Cole, you're in danger. Real danger. From what? A medication error? From your husband. She said it so quietly, I almost didn't hear. The 4th medication combined with your concussion meds would cause bleeding in the brain. It would look like a tragic complication from your fall. The room spun. No way! David would never… I know this sounds crazy. I know you have no reason to trust me. Anna's voice was urgent. But I need you to listen. Has anything felt off about your marriage lately? Anything strange? I wanted to say no. I wanted to defend my husband. But then I thought about the last few months. How distant David had been. How many late nights he'd been working. How he'd stopped talking about trying IVF again, stopped mentioning adoption, stopped meeting my eyes when his mother asked about grandchildren. How he'd suggested just last month that maybe I should update my will. Just to be smart, he'd said. My lawyer can handle it. Who are you? I whispered. How do you know all this? I'm a nurse here. I've been watching them. She cut herself off as footsteps approached. David walked into the room. My husband of 15 years. The man I'd loved since I was 27. The man whose family had made me feel like a failure every holiday for the past decade. He smiled warmly and came to kiss my forehead. There's my girl. I heard you gave Sarah some trouble about the IV. Just nervous, I said, forcing myself to smile back. You know how I am with needles. I do. He squeezed my hand, his wedding ring pressed against my skin. But, sweetheart, the IV really would help. I consulted with 3 different specialists this morning. Everyone agrees it's the best treatment plan for your injuries. 3 specialists. He'd built a paper trail. Maybe tomorrow, I said. I'm just not ready today. Something flickered in his eyes, but then the warm smile returned. Whatever you need. I just want you healthy again. He glanced at Anna. My wife is being well taken care of. Yes, Dr. Cole, Anna said smoothly. She's doing very well. Good. He turned back to me. I have surgery in 20 minutes, but I'll be back this afternoon. Try to rest, okay? And Martha… He paused at the door. I really do think you should reconsider the IV. Trust me on this. After he left, Anna and I stared at each other. He's going to try again, she whispered. Tonight, when you're asleep, or tomorrow morning, or whenever you let your guard down, you have to get out of this hospital. I can't just leave. Who's going to believe? I'll explain everything, but not here. She pressed something into my hand, a business card with an address written on the back. My shift ends at 3 p.m. If you can get to this address, I'll tell you everything I know. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. Anna's expression went hard. Because 10 years ago, I watched him do this to someone else. And I didn't say anything. I didn't have proof. I told myself I was imagining things. Her voice cracked. She died 3 days later. Medication error during a routine procedure, and I've had to live with that ever since. My blood went cold. Who? Who died? His first wife, Anna whispered, then sensing my confusion. You didn't know he was married before, did you? The room tilted. Before I could respond, my hospital room door swung open again. Dr. Martinez stood there, but she wasn't alone. She had 2 other nurses with her, and they were pushing a cart. Martha, I'm so sorry to alarm you, Dr. Martinez said, her voice urgent and professional. But we're seeing some concerning changes in your latest test results. We need to start that IV immediately. It's become medically necessary. Anna stepped between them and my bed. What test results? I haven't seen any orders for... Are you questioning my medical judgment, Nurse Rodriguez? Dr. Martinez's voice went cold. The other nurses were already setting up the IV stand, moving with purpose, blocking the door. I looked at Anna, whose face had gone white, then at Dr. Martinez, whose professional mask had slipped just enough for me to see what was underneath. Not concern, not medical urgency, determination. And that's when I realized they weren't going to give me a choice this time. I looked at Anna, whose jaw was set with determination, then at the nurses closing in around my bed. No, I said loudly. I do not consent to this treatment. Dr. Martinez's smile tightened. Martha, you're not thinking clearly. The concussion is affecting your judgment. My judgment is fine. I pushed myself up straighter in bed, ignoring the pain in my wrist. I'm a competent adult refusing a medical procedure. You can't force me. Your husband has medical power of attorney. No, he doesn't. My voice was shaking but firm. I never signed one, and unless I'm unconscious or mentally incompetent, which I'm not, you need my consent. The nurses exchanged uncertain glances. One of them looked at Dr. Martinez, whose face had gone rigid. Your husband specifically. I'm refusing treatment. I looked directly at her. And if you try to start that IV against my will, that's assault, battery. And I doubt the hospital's legal team would be very interested in a lawsuit. The room went silent. Dr. Martinez's eyes were cold now, all pretense of concern gone. Fine, she said finally. But I'm noting in your chart that you refused medically necessary treatment against doctor's orders. When your condition deteriorates, that's on you. She turned to the nurses. Pack it up. After they left, Anna let out a breath she'd been holding. That was smart, using the consent laws. I'm a real estate lawyer, I said, my hands still shaking. I know a little about liability. I looked at her. But they're going to try again, aren't they? Yes, and next time they'll have your husband sign paperwork saying you're not mentally competent to make decisions. Anna checked her watch. You have maybe 3 hours before David finishes surgery. We need to get you out of here. I can't just walk out. I have a concussion, a fractured wrist. Then you stay and die. Her voice was harsh. Because that's what he's planning. I thought about the pregnancy test, the 2 pink lines I'd seen 3 days ago. Before the fall, I'd been planning to confirm it with my doctor, to make sure everything was okay before I told David. But now, I didn't even know if I was still pregnant. The fall, the concussion, all the medications they'd given me, had I lost it? Was that why David was so insistent on the IV, to make sure there was no baby left to complicate his plans? I need to know something, I said quietly. Did they do a pregnancy test when I came in? Anna's eyes widened slightly. You're pregnant? I was, but I don't know if I still am after the fall. My medical records, can you check? Did they test for it? She hesitated. I can look, but if I access your records without authorization, it'll show up in the system. Please. I need to know. Anna pulled out her phone, tapped a few times, her face illuminated by the screen. After a moment, she looked up. They did a pregnancy test in the ER. Positive. You're still pregnant. Relief and terror flooded through me in equal measure. I was still pregnant, but that meant, "Does David know?" I whispered. "It would be in your chart. Any doctor treating you would have access." Anna's face was grim. "So yes, he knows. That changed everything. If I died now, the baby died too. David's heir, the grandchild his mother had been demanding for 15 years. Unless that's exactly what he wanted." "His first wife," I said suddenly. "The one who died." "Was she pregnant?" Anna's face went pale. "How did you—" "Was she?" "Yes, 4 months along." Anna's voice was barely audible. "That's why I finally believed it wasn't an accident. He killed both of them." My hands went to my stomach instinctively. Why? Why would he kill his own child? Maybe because it wasn't his plan? David likes control. He likes things on his timeline. Anna sat on the edge of my bed. His first wife, Rebecca, she got pregnant after he'd told her they needed to wait. He was still establishing his career, didn't want the distraction. But she was thrilled, wouldn't consider termination. 3 weeks later, she was dead. And no one suspected? My voice was hoarse. He was a grieving widower, a respected surgeon who'd lost his wife and unborn child to a tragic medical error. Everyone felt sorry for him. Anna's jaw tightened. I was a student nurse then, working in that unit. I saw how he was after she died. He wasn't devastated, he was relieved. "But you didn't say anything?" I was 23 years old. Who would have believed me? A student nurse accusing a prominent surgeon of murder with no proof. She looked at me. "That's why I'm not staying silent this time." I thought about my marriage, the distance that had grown between us over the years, how the fertility treatments had become more about his mother's expectations than our desire for a family, how he'd suggested I update my will. What was I reading? I asked suddenly. On my phone before I fell. I was standing at the top of the stairs looking at my phone, and then everything went black. What was on that screen? "Your husband has your phone," Anna said. "But the phone company keeps records. Text messages, emails, they're all backed up somewhere, aren't they?" Anna thought for a moment. "If we can get to your phone provider, maybe, but that takes time, warrants." "My laptop," I interrupted. "I sync my messages to my laptop. David wouldn't think to check it. He's not tech-savvy." I looked at Anna. "It's at home. Can you get it? There's a spare key under the turtle statue in the front garden, left side of the porch." I grabbed her hand. "Please, I need to know what I was reading. It might tell us why this is happening now." Anna checked her watch again. "David's surgery should run at least another 2 hours. I can make it there and back if I leave now." She stood up. "But you need to promise me you won't fall asleep. Don't accept any medication you didn't specifically ask for. And if they try to force you, scream. Make a scene, make sure other people hear you refusing." After she left, I sat in that hospital bed trying to piece together the fragments of my life that suddenly didn't make sense. David had been married before. That was the first lie, or omission. In 15 years, he'd never mentioned a first wife, never mentioned losing a child. I thought about our wedding, how his mother had been lukewarm about me from the start, how his father had pulled me aside and said, "David needs someone stable, someone who won't cause drama." Had they been comparing me to Rebecca? Had I been chosen specifically because I seemed compliant, easy to control? The door opened and I flinched, but it was just a different nurse, older with kind eyes. "Just checking your vitals, dear." I watched her carefully as she took my blood pressure, checked my temperature. She seemed normal, professional, not like someone trying to kill me. "You're doing well," she said, making notes on her tablet. "Dr. Martinez left orders for pain medication if you need it. Just press your call button." "I'm okay for now," I said. After she left, I stared at the call button on the cord next to my bed. How many times had medical staff told me to press it if I needed anything? How many times had I trusted that pressing that button would bring help, not harm? I couldn't trust anyone here. Not the nurses, not the doctors, not the cheerful volunteers who brought around magazines and juice. My husband had authority, respect, access here. He could walk into my room at any time, order any treatment, and everyone would assume he was being a caring spouse. I was trapped. Time crawled by. I watched the clock on the wall tick forward, 1 hour, then 2. I kept expecting David to walk in, to somehow know that I'd refused the IV, that Anna was helping me. But he didn't come. At 2:45 p.m., my door opened again. Anna slipped in, slightly out of breath, carrying a laptop bag. "Got it," she said, setting the bag on my bed. "Your laptop was in the home office, right where you said. I also grabbed your phone charger in case we need it." My hands were shaking as I opened the laptop. It took a moment to boot up, and then I was staring at my login screen. I typed in my password. The desktop loaded. I opened my messages app, my heart pounding. And there it was, the last message I'd received before my fall. From an unknown number. "I need to talk to you about David. Meet me at Riverside Cafe tomorrow at 2 p.m. This is about Rebecca. You deserve to know the truth. Someone had been trying to warn me." "Who sent this?" Anna asked, reading over my shoulder. I scrolled up through the conversation. There were several messages before that one, all from the same unknown number. They'd started 3 days before my fall. "Is this Martha Cole? I'm a friend of Rebecca Chen, David's first wife. I know what really happened to her, and I think you're in danger." I'd responded, "Who is this? How did you get my number?" The person explained that they had worked at Mercy General when Rebecca died, that they saw David with a Dr. Martinez in the parking garage last week and recognized the signs. Then they told me to meet them tomorrow for proof. That's when I must have been standing at the top of the stairs, trying to process that my husband had been married before, that someone was warning me I was in danger, and then the world went blank. "You didn't fall," Anna said quietly. "He pushed you." "I don't remember. I can't." My head was pounding, trying to force the memory through the fog of concussion. "He wasn't home. He'd already left for the hospital." "Are you sure, Martha? Are you absolutely certain he'd left?" I tried to think back. That morning was so blurry. I remembered waking up alone. I'd assumed David had already gone to work, but had I actually seen him leave? Had I heard his car, or had I just assumed? "Oh, God," I whispered. I don't know if he was there." Anna grabbed my hand. "Okay, it's okay. What matters is what we do now." She pulled out her phone. "I'm going to forward these messages to myself, and then we're calling the police." "And tell them what?" "That my husband might have pushed me down the stairs, but I can't remember. That I think he's trying to kill me with an IV, but I have no proof." I shook my head. "They'll never believe us. David is respected, successful. I'm the unstable wife with a concussion who's refusing treatment. Then what do we do?" Before I could answer, my hospital room door opened. But it wasn't a nurse this time. It was David. He wasn't supposed to be done with surgery yet. He was still wearing his surgical scrubs, and there was something wrong with his expression. Not concerned, not loving, angry. "Martha," he said, his voice tight, "we need to talk." Anna stood up, positioning herself between us. "Dr. Cole, visiting hours. I'm her husband. I can visit whenever I want." His eyes were locked on me. "I heard you refused treatment, again, against multiple doctors' recommendations." "It's my right to refuse," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Sarah called me out of surgery. She said you were being irrational, aggressive. She's concerned about your mental state." He took a step closer. "I think the concussion is affecting you more than we realized. I think we need to have you evaluated by a psychiatrist, and I think, as your husband, I need to make medical decisions on your behalf until you're thinking clearly." There it was, the plan Anna had warned me about. "I'm thinking perfectly clearly," I said. "Clear enough to know I don't want an IV I don't need." "How would you know what you need?" "You're not a doctor." His voice was getting louder. "I am. Sarah is. We all agree this is necessary, but you're too stubborn and paranoid to listen. Or maybe I just don't want to end up like Rebecca." The words were out of my mouth before I could stop them. The room went absolutely silent. David's face went blank, then something flashed across it. Surprise, then calculation, then a cold fury I'd never seen before. "What did you just say?" His voice was dangerously quiet. "Your first wife, Rebecca. The one you never told me about. The one who died in this hospital 10 years ago." along with your baby. You went through my things." His voice was shaking now, but not with sadness, with rage. "You had no right." "I had every right. I'm your wife. Or am I just the second woman you decided to get rid of when she became inconvenient?" David lunged forward, but Anna stepped in front of him. "Dr. Cole, I think you should leave." "You." He looked at Anna like he was seeing her for the first time. "I know you. You worked here when—" He stopped. "You're the one filling her head with this insanity. I'm the one telling her the truth." "The truth?" He laughed, but it sounded wrong. "You don't know anything. Rebecca's death was a tragedy, a medical error. I was cleared by every investigation." "Because you're a respected surgeon and no one wanted to believe you were capable of murder," Anna shot back. "But I was there. I saw how you were with her." "This is insane." But David's composure was cracking. He turned back to me. "Martha, please, listen to me. You're not well. The concussion, the stress, you're being manipulated by someone who has a grudge against me. I love you. Everything I've done is to help you." "Help me?" I held up the laptop, showing him the messages. "Someone was trying to warn me about you. 3 days before I fell down the stairs. Someone who knew Rebecca, who knew what you did to her." His eyes went to the screen. I saw his jaw clench. "Who sent those?" he asked quietly. "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. "How long have you been planning this, David? Did you push me down those stairs, or were you hoping the fall would kill me and you wouldn't have to bother with the IV? You've lost your mind." "Have I? Then why did you order an IV medication that would cause brain bleeding when combined with my concussion meds? Why did you take my phone and my purse so I couldn't call anyone? Why did you have me update my will 2 weeks ago?" My voice was rising. "And why? Didn't you ever tell me you'd been married before? That you had a child who died? Because it was none of your business." The words exploded out of him. "Because I didn't want to spend my second marriage being compared to my first. Because Rebecca was a mistake I wanted to forget." The room went silent again. "A mistake," I repeated. "Is that what I am too?" Something in David's face changed. The mask dropped completely. "You were supposed to be different," he said quietly. "Stable, grateful, content with what I gave you, but then you had to get pregnant, didn't you? After 15 years of failure, suddenly you're carrying my child right when I've finally found someone who actually understands me." "Dr. Martinez," Anna said. "Yes, Sarah understands ambition. She understands that sometimes sacrifices have to be made for success." He looked at me with something like pity. "You were never going to survive motherhood, Martha. You're too weak, too emotional. The pregnancy would have destroyed you. I was doing you a favor. By trying to kill me? By giving you peace." He said it like he actually believed it. "A quick, painless end. No suffering, no messy divorce, no custody battles, just a tragic accident that no one would question." My blood ran cold. He wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. "And Rebecca?" I asked. "Was that a favor too?" "Rebecca wouldn't have been a good mother either. She was selfish, impulsive. She got pregnant to trap me into staying in a marriage I'd already outgrown." His voice was matter-of-fact, like he was discussing a failed business venture. "The medication error was a mercy." Anna pulled out her phone. "I'm calling security." "Go ahead," David smiled. "And tell them what?" He looked at me. "No one will believe you, Martha. I'm a respected surgeon. You're an unstable patient refusing medical care. And Anna," he turned to her, "you're a nurse with a history of making wild accusations that were never substantiated." "There's a recording," I said suddenly. David froze. "What?" I held up my laptop. "My Messages app. It records audio when it's open, has for the last 5 minutes. That was a lie. I had no idea if it was actually recording, but I said it with conviction. Every word you just said about Rebecca, about me, it's all documented." For the first time, David looked uncertain. His eyes went to the laptop, then back to me. "You're bluffing," he scoffed. "Am I?" I turned the screen toward him. "Do you want to take that chance?" We stared at each other. I saw him calculating, trying to figure out if I was serious. Then Anna said, "I'm calling the police." She had her phone to her ear. "Yes, I need to report an attempted murder at Mercy General Hospital." David moved fast. He grabbed for Anna's phone, but she pulled back. He caught her wrist and twisted. I heard her cry out in pain. "Stop!" I screamed. "Someone help!" But we were in a private room on the quiet floor, the floor David had specifically requested for me, where no one would hear. Anna struggled against him, and I saw her other hand reaching for something on her belt. Pepper spray? An alarm? I didn't think. I just grabbed the IV pole next to my bed and swung it as hard as I could. It connected with David's shoulder. He stumbled back, releasing Anna's wrist. The door burst open. 2 security guards stood there, looking confused. Behind them, I could see a crowd of people in the hallway, nurses, patients, visitors, all staring. Anna had pressed a code button, a hospital emergency alarm, the kind that brought everyone running. "This man just assaulted me," Anna said loudly, holding her wrist, "and he's been trying to force medical treatment on a patient who has repeatedly refused consent." "That's ridiculous," David started. "I want him out of my room," I said, my voice shaking. "I want him away from me. I do not consent to any treatment he recommends, and I want to file a police report for assault, both against me 3 days ago when I fell down the stairs and against Nurse Rodriguez just now." The security guards looked at each other, then at David. One of them spoke into his radio. "Dr. Cole, I think you need to come with us," the senior guard said. "This is absurd. I'm her husband. I have rights." More people were gathering in the hallway now. I could see other doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, all watching, all witnesses. David looked around at the crowd, at the security guards, at me holding that IV pole like a weapon, and I saw the moment he realized he'd lost control of the situation. "This isn't over," he said quietly, looking at me. "You'll regret this." After they escorted him out, I collapsed back onto the bed, shaking. Anna sat beside me, cradling her wrist. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Sprained, probably." "Worth it." She looked at me. "Is your laptop actually recording?" "I have no idea. I just hoped he'd believe it." Anna laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. That was either the bravest or the stupidest thing I've ever seen. A hospital administrator appeared in the doorway, a woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and an expression of deep concern. "Mrs. Cole, I'm Ellen Reeves, the hospital administrator. I'm so sorry about what just happened. We're launching an immediate investigation into Dr. Cole's conduct and the treatment recommendations that were made. In the meantime, I want to assure you that you'll be transferred to a different floor with a completely new medical team. No one associated with Dr. Cole will have access to you or your medical records." "Thank you," I said. "And I understand you'd like to file a police report?" "Yes, about my fall 3 days ago and about what just happened." Ellen nodded. "We have a police liaison on staff. I'll have her come up immediately. And Mrs. Cole," she paused, "I want you to know that Mercy General takes patient safety seriously. If there was any wrongdoing here, we will pursue it to the fullest extent." After she left, Anna squeezed my hand. "You did it. You stood up to him." "We did it," I corrected. "If you hadn't warned me about the IV, you'd be dead right now," Anna finished. 2 police detectives arrived within the hour. I told them everything, about the mysterious messages warning me about Rebecca, about the suspicious fall down the stairs, about David's confession when he thought no one would believe me. "Your laptop," one detective said. "You mentioned it might have recorded the conversation." I handed it over. I was bluffing. I don't actually know if it was recording. The detective opened it, checked the settings. Then she smiled grimly. "Well, you got lucky. Your audio input was active. The whole conversation is saved in your system cache." I felt tears prick my eyes. We had him. We actually had proof. The investigation moved quickly after that. Once the police started looking into Rebecca's death, they found inconsistencies that had been overlooked the first time. Medication orders that didn't match the signed prescriptions. Timing that didn't add up. And when they interviewed staff who'd worked at the hospital 10 years ago, several nurses came forward, including Anna, with suspicions they'd never voiced. David was arrested 3 days later. Dr. Martinez was arrested as an accessory. Apparently she'd known about Rebecca and had still helped plan my accident. They'd been having an affair for 8 months. She thought she was going to be the next Mrs. David Cole. Instead, She was facing conspiracy to commit murder charges. The baby, I was still pregnant. Somehow, through everything, the baby had survived. The doctors said it was a miracle. I called it stubbornness. Maybe my child got that from me. I filed for divorce the day after David's arrest. His mother tried to convince me to work things out and not destroy the family name. I told her that her son had tried to murder me and hung up. I haven't spoken to her since. The mysterious person who'd sent me those warning messages, it turned out to be a lab technician who'd worked with Rebecca. She'd never forgotten the look on David's face when they told him his wife was dead. Not grief, but relief. When she'd seen David with Dr. Martinez, looking at her the same way he used to look at Rebecca before he grew tired of her, she'd known she had to warn me. If she hadn't sent those messages, if I hadn't been standing at the top of the stairs reading them at the exact moment David came home early from the hospital, I might never have known. I might have accepted that the next morning, and died thinking my loving husband had done everything he could to save me. Today, 6 months later, I'm doing well. The divorce is almost final. The criminal trial is ongoing, but the prosecutor says the evidence is overwhelming. David will spend the rest of his life in prison. And me? I'm 4 months pregnant now, living in a new apartment far from Mercy General Hospital, far from the house where I almost died. I've started going to therapy to process everything. Some days are harder than others, but I'm alive. My baby is alive. Anna saved us by slipping me that sticky note. If you're still here with me, please like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. You can help more people find this story and recognize the warning signs before it's too late.